All right, so hi everybody. I know we have some people still coming into the room, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the recording. If you are, as we go on just joining us, this will be added to our YouTube channel, so you can come back and watch everything. So, welcome to our Library Makers webinar. For those that are new to Library Makers, we're like an online community. We connect and support library maker staff of all levels and experiences. We recognize the experience and strengths that each member brings to the community. We're kind of just like a bunch of like library makers from across the country sharing our ideas and everything. We want to create a safe and welcoming space. I'm sorry if I talk too fast. For library maker staff to ask questions. We want to share knowledge, find mentors, and develop skills and exchange ideas. And we want to equip and advance library professionals to be innovative leaders in our field. And if you guys are ever interested, it's free to join our community. Just go to librarymakers.org and make a free account. We ask questions and do other fun webinar stuff like this. So before we get started, I'm curious to know our audience. My assistant Karen is going to be. I say assistant, but she's my co-committee member. Um, she's going to be posting a quick little survey for you guys to answer. Just kind of letting us know, like what kind of library system you're in and things like that, because just kind of just out of curiosity. All right, so we'll give it a minute while you guys fill out that questionnaire. All right. I hope everyone's having a really good day today and that the weather is at least decent in your area. And we're really excited about today's webinar. All right. So it looks like a majority. So it looks like a majority of our attendees are from the West, and Midwest kind of falling just behind. A lot of public library people here, so hello, and a lot of suburban libraries. All right. Well, looks like we have a pretty broad group here today. So real quick, so this is our snack break session. That we have gone today. So a snack break's kind of like a webinar in a 30-minute just done in a 30-minute format because we know we all have busy schedules. So I'm going to introduce our speaker today. It's Alyssa Morgan. She has done some painting programs herself at Morgan County Public Library. I believe she's head of youth services, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Alyssa.
That's okay.
And I found her through an Indiana Youth Conference I went to a couple of years ago because my boss wanted me to do a painting program. I'm like, I don't have any experience in this. What am I going to do? And she gave me a lot of inspiration. So I definitely thank her for that and thought she'd be perfect for this. So, Alyssa, I'm going to leave you the floor. I'm going to go. Well, I'm just going to take a minute to cancel the sharing on my end while you get set up on yours and everything.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's get ye old PowerPoint going. And okay. So here we go. We are going to talk about having painting programs at your library. And like Kelly said, my name is Alyssa Morgan, and I'm the Children's Librarian, Head of Youth Services at the Morgan County Public Library in Martinsville, Indiana. Yes, my library and I share the same name. Martinsville is located in between Indianapolis and Bloomington, Indiana, home of Indiana University, which is where I got my MLS. The state library classifies us as a large library based on our service population size, but we are very much a rural, small town community. We have 6 locations throughout the county, but I spend most of my time here at the main branch. I actually started out at the library as an intern in 2009, moved my way up, and have been the children's librarian for 13 years. So this has been my only library. And I have no formal artistic training. I am a hobby painter. It's just something I've always been interested in. So this is proof that you too can do this. So the plan for today is we're going to talk a little bit about how I got myself into this mess. how you can get started at your library, the supplies you'll need, preparing for the program, and then the day of the program. Throughout, I do have some pictures that we have painted throughout from some of our artists. They are all anonymous due to the fact that this will be on YouTube, but please enjoy as we go through. And now we'll see if my cryptic notes to myself made sense. Okay, so we started this in the summer of 2021 as a video tutorial and a materials kit. I filmed myself doing a painting and had the supplies ready for patrons to pick up so they could do this at home. We were still in that whole pandemic, do we program in person, do we not, sort of transition. So that's how we first got into the painting business, if you will. We began doing in-person programs for just the kids. For our library, kids are school-age kids, I should say, so it's kindergarten through about grade 5. We started in the fall of 2021, and we called them Popcorn and Painting because I like alliteration and because we serve popcorn at the program. And then in 2022, we started to add programs for teens, tweens, and adults. We also did some pizza and painting, made them special after hours events. I now do about 12 painting programs a year, so 3 a season, with most of them being in the summer, mostly for kids. And I kind of went through the numbers the other day, and we've had 400 people show up to paint at the library. So it's been very popular. Everyone has enjoyed it. And it's nice too, because I think a lot of people are interested in, the wine and canvas, cookie and canvas. But those can get kind of pricey, especially, if you're a family with multiple children. So the fact that we're able to offer this to our patrons for free and give them this chance to experience art, I think is wonderful, and I have enjoyed it. Okay, so you are here, you are curious, so this is how I began planning my programs. So the first thing I decide is what age group I'm planning for, because that again depends on what type of painting I'm going to look for. Do you want to do this as one set program, or do you want to break it into multiple sessions to complete the painting? The painting programs are long. They run about 2 to 2.5 hours. Which is exhausting for you as a staff member, but it's also exhausting for the participants. We're all toast by the end. I foolishly did 2 painting programs in one day once, never again. Please don't learn my lesson, don't do it. You can also do it in multiple sessions. I've done this a couple of times with the teens in the summer because our teen librarian offers this as one of their weekly programs. What you run the risk with multiple sessions is, are they going to come to all the sessions? So your patrons, what's going to work best. Figure out how you're going to set this up. In terms of how many participants you want to have, kind of where you want your maximum numbers. Again, it depends on your space, your budget, but with the kids, I would top it out at 15 to 20 kids for the program, just again, mainly for crowd control. At our library, children under 7 need an adult with them to participate in the program. So if you have any kind of rule like that at your library, you do want to keep that in mind for the space. It's also been very helpful to us because it seems like several of our families, we have kids that are right above and right under that 7-year mark. So the younger one has mom or dad to help or whoever, which is nice. Teens, you can go up to 15 or 20 because again, they're a little older. If you have a group of particularly raucous teens though, maybe knock it down to that 15 number again. And then for adults, I've gone up to 20. I will go ahead and say that I'm going to try this summer to do a family painting program and go up to 30 participants. So we will see how that goes and if I will ever do that again. Okay, next you want to find a painting to recreate. The easiest way to do this is to go online and look. There are lots of websites out there that do painting tutorials, And the majority of them that I've kind of looked through are pretty cool with libraries and not-for-profits using their tutorial as the basis for a program, as long as you credit them as the original creator. Again, every website is different, so please look. They usually have something in the About Me portion, or they will have a separate page, excuse me, talking about the hamster's running, the wheel is not turning. I'm talking about the permissions that you need to get to use their painting. Thank you. The website I have used the most for my tutorials is called stepbysteppainting.net with Tracy Kiernan. I really like this site because one, she's very nice. I've emailed her with questions and she's responded quite promptly and has been really great about letting me use her tutorials. But she has, with each lesson, she does a video, written instruction, photographs along the way. So no matter what type of learner you are, you're going to be able to create a nice painting. So that is who I primarily use. I have started looking at the artsherpa.com. It is another website with a lot of tutorials. I believe with this one, you do need to get permission anytime you want to use their tutorials. With Tracy Kiernan's website, we fall under sort of a blanket permission. We can use it, no problem. But I've also heard other people who do painting programs who've used the Art Sherpa and have been pleased with those tutorials. You can also create your own. There is nothing stopping you from taking a drawing of your own and sort of turning it into a painting. That's not something I'm personally comfortable with, but if you are, please go for it. But here's what you're not going to do. I get the temptation to maybe go through your collection as like, oh, we have some Bob Ross Joy of Painting DVDs, or we have books. We can teach everybody how to paint happy little trees. You will get a very nice cease and desist from the Bob Ross Company if you try to do this. This is pulled directly from their website. Libraries, community centers, universities, art galleries, art centers, and any entity intending to host or already hosting Bob Ross events of any kind must use a Bob Ross certified instructor. Now, if you want to go that route and have an instructor do this course, paint happy trees to your heart's content. Otherwise, I would not suggest this. I've heard of libraries who they have tried to do this, and again, they've gotten the very nice letter to please not. All right.
And I'm just going to take a minute to interrupt while you're getting set up.
Go ahead.
People are putting some suggestions in the comments. And I apologize if I mispronounced anybody's name. Teresa Sistik says, Meet the Masters is a great program you can use to recreate famous artists' works.
Ooh.
And then Laura Pitt says that Plaid has painting videos and they have told me we're welcome to use their videos. Thank you for that, Laura. Yeah, so if anyone has like links they can share with us, you definitely recommend that. And an answer, yeah, the webinar is gonna be posted on YouTube. So I'll
excellent.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, always looking for new ideas. Okay, so you have found a painting you want to recreate. The first thing you're going to do is test it out. You don't need to go shopping first because I have not seen all of your craft closets, but I can guarantee you probably already have 99.9% of what you need to at least test the painting out. You may not have the right colors, you may not have the exact quote unquote proper brush, but you've got enough, or you can run out and grab a few things very quickly to decide if this is the painting you want to do. It's okay if you're a little nervous, if you're not sure, you're going to practice it a couple times, but if you are feeling comfortable, boom, you've got a painting. And now that you've decided what you're going to paint, now we go shopping. So I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint for just a second. Actually, I lied. Let me go back because I got a little ahead of myself. I knew my cryptic notes would not make sense at some point. So let's try again. Okay, so, all right, sorry about that. Okay, so where to purchase and also where to fund your supplies. Good, better, or worse, a lot of my shopping for this has been done on Amazon. I've also started to use the Blick art site. The website's dickblick.com. It is really nice for paint, especially because the pricing is consistent. I'm not going to go a ton into talking specific prices just so we can get through the presentation, but at the end, if anybody has questions, we can talk a little bit about specific pricing later. Don't sleep on Walmart, Dollar Tree, stores of that nature, especially if, again, you're painting your example and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no blue paint or I have no canvas. They have a decent enough selection that you can get something to kind of fill in that gap to get your example painted. Or if it's a few days before and you realize you're short of a couple brushes, that's another option. Chain craft stores, if we still have any more, RIP Joann's. Also look at your local independent craft and art stores. You might even be able to come up with some sort of partnership for materials. In terms of funding your supplies, again, I'm in Indiana, so a place that I'm looking is the Indiana Arts Commission. I believe each state has some sort of arts commission or arts foundation, so I encourage you to look that up to see if that is a place where you might be able to get a grant to sponsor some of your costs. A local community foundation. In Indiana, each county has a community foundation that does grants among their other work. So that might be a place to look too. I will be honest, I didn't do a ton of research to see if there were any national grants. I know grant money might be getting ready to be hard to come by, but hopefully we can find a way to get you the funds you need to to get what you need for these painting programs. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing because we're going to talk a little bit about specific supplies, and I will put the presentation back up. It has some photographs in it, but I wanted to take a minute to show you the brushes I use. I've kind of broken it down into these are the 4 brushes that I use the most. So again, if we're thinking about cost or even storage space, these are the brushes that you really need and can pretty much do any painting with. The first one is you're going to need 2 types of flat brushes. And fun fact, so brushes come in sizes. Much like clothing sizes, they are not standard. Typically, the larger the brush number, the bigger the brush. But there's not really like a set system as far as I understand it as this size means this and this size means this. But back to the flat brushes. So this is called a 3/4 flat. This is what you use to paint most of your backgrounds. Also, these brushes are very soft, so if you're having a day, you can just come and do this and it's very soothing. So this is what you're going to use for most of your backgrounds. You'll also need a smaller flat brush. This one is a size 8, but also a 10 or a 12 would work. So they're going to be a little bit bigger than this. This is nice for filling in larger areas of color that the 3/4 brush is way too big for. And you can also use it if you're trying to outline something in the background, but you don't want to get into what you're painting itself. So these are the 2 flats you need. If budget is really an issue, you could go with the smaller one. You're just going to spend a lot of time painting, which is fine. The other ones you need are round brushes, and these are kind of when I think of a paintbrush in my head, this is what I think of. The 2 sizes you will want are an 8 and a 4, if you can find them. 5 and 3 also work. So this is a 5. You can see this one I haven't really used, so it still has a nice point on it. This is a size 3, and it's been well used and well loved, and these are probably the brushes that you're going to go through the quickest because this is what you're going to use for the bulk of your painting. You can also pinch these brushes when they're wet to get a nice point so you can do some line work. Another brush I like to have, it's not necessary, but I've grown fond of it. This is called a filbert brush. So it's a type of flat brush, but it also has this curve, which is really nice for filling in curved shapes, which you do a lot of with painting. really quick before I go back to the presentation, just while I have this to demonstrate, when you are drying your paintbrushes, you want to either lay them flat or you want to find a way to hang them upside down to dry. Do not dry them up like this because the water is going to run back down in here, and it's going to cause the bristles to become loose, this to become loose from the handle. Save your brushes. Also, keep these brushes separate from any of your other craft painting brushes to sort of get a bit more life out of them. So let me get back here. Okay, yes, we've talked about where to buy everything. We've talked about our brushes. Next, we're going to talk about the canvases. Excuse me. I use canvas panels, not the stretched canvas around the wooden frame, because it's more cost effective. The most common sizes I've been using are 11 by 14 and 16 by 20. That was very quick. You can usually buy them in pretty decent size packages too. I will say that is something that tends to be part of Amazon's Prime Day sale. It is worth keeping an eye on. Just throwing that out there. Paint, the star of the show. I use acrylic paint for my paintings. It dries very quickly. There's student grade paint, and then there's the craft acrylic that we're all used to, and probably again most of us have in our craft cabinet. Student grade it's thicker, the colors are richer, it does a better job of covering. If you are concerned about costs and being able to fund this, don't try student acrylic, because once you've tried it, you're not going to be able to go back to the regular craft painting. That is where the bulk of my cost is in getting paint, between paint and canvases. That's kind of where the expense for this program comes from. I will show you. I should have kept it, but it's hard to see. I should have done this while I was still on full frame. So these two paintings, both the llama, this one is done completely in craft paint. This one is done in the acrylic, or not the acrylic, the student grade acrylic, excuse me. And I can bring these up again at the end. But you can see, I mean, both will do a nice job. You can still get an excellent painting from just regular craft paint. So again, don't let that discourage you that you have to use student grade acrylic. It's just become my preference because I'm high maintenance like that. Another nice thing to have are paint pens. They're very similar to if you've used chalk markers. They're really good for line work. Not necessary, but it's a nice thing to have. We're getting to the part where I'm getting thirsty. The rest of it, again, we probably have a fair amount of this. You'll want a palette or paper plates. Again, palettes reusable, but you have to wash them after every program. Paper plates, you can get rid of them. Do what works best for you. Cups for water. You will want some way to cover your tables to help attempt to cut down on mess. Tablecloths are an option. We also have large, it turns out it's photo mat board that works really well. You'll want palette knives or plastic knives, and the palette knives do come in plastic as well. This helps the kids sort of scoop up paint and mix them when you have to do color mixing. You will want carbon paper, graphite paper to trace an image onto the canvas. Fun fact, I did not know this until I started painting, that you can actually get white carbon graphite paper. So if you've got a dark background, you can still see what you're doing. Excuse me. Paper towels, rags for students to wipe brushes off, also to help clean up a mess. You'll want an easel for yourself. I don't provide easels for everyone at the program. Again, it's a cost issue. So they have their paintings flat on the table, but you will want an easel so they can see what it is you're doing. And I found my easel for around $15. So again, not a huge expense. Snacks or some other diversion. At some point, you will want to take a long break, about 20-25 minutes. One, to let paint dry. and 2, just because you need the break. You guys could sit around and watch the paint dry, that's fine. Or you could have a snack at that time. If your library doesn't do food, or if that's a concern, you can do a story time. If you have some crafts that go along with the painting, maybe a short movie, something on Canopy or Hoopla if your library has that. But just something to do during a longer break. Rulers, pencils, Sharpie markers, rulers for sometimes you have to draw lines to divide the canvas up, pencils to draw that line, and to also if you're doing any tracing, and Sharpies are also nice to do some outline work at the end too. A hair dryer or handheld fans are also very helpful, especially for the younger kids who maybe we use a little too much paint. And you'll want paintbrush cleaner, or you can just use a bar of Ivory or Dial soap for cleaning your brushes. Are there any questions in the chat really quick before I kind of move on to the next part in regards to supplies?
Real quick, somebody did ask a question about like how to run an event without the use of a sink, like a community sink in their space. Some people have been given some good suggestions about like maybe a small bucket of water, a bin they can put dirty things in to take to the break room, or some pictures. I didn't know if you had something you wanted to add to that in that sense.
No, I think those are great ideas. Again, you'll need water for them to rinse their brushes out in. So again, pitchers, tubs, so you can take them to another space. You also want to think about, there are several times within the program you may need to dump water out. So you may even need a bin of dirty water, or for us, we happen to have some extra bathrooms close by, so I will divide the groups up to send them that way. But those are all really good suggestions if you don't have easy access to a sink, because water is important for this. Okay, so we've picked out what we wanted to paint. We have gone shopping. So now we need to finish getting ready for the program. You will want to paint the painting again, and you'll want to take notes. You may even need to paint the painting a third time. You don't have to be able to recreate this in your sleep, but you will want to feel comfortable if you're going to be up leading the class. So as many times as it takes for you to feel comfortable, do it. You may need to watch the video tutorial again without painting, just to kind of check the notes you have for yourself. And then you'll also want to plan breaks for your program. Ideally, in a perfect world, that long 20-minute break would come in the middle, but depending on the type of painting you're doing, and if you need something to dry for a while, you might be doing that in the beginning. So again, figure out a good spot for that 20-minute break. And then this is especially important with the younger kids. The second half of the program, you'll want to squeeze in about midway through that second half, at least a 5-minute break for everybody to get up, get a drink of water, run around the room, just because we are all getting antsy. I mean, I tell the kids, I'm like, Miss Alyssa's almost done too. I know, I get it. But that just kind of helps things go smoother, especially for the younger kids, if they have that extra little break just to get up, walk around, that kind of thing. Tracing an image. If you've picked something where you're tracing a llama, a tree, is that something you want to do beforehand and have it ready for the program? Or is that something you're going to do as part of the program? We've kind of gotten to a point with most of the programs here, we do it as a part of the program. But if you realize you've got a program with lots of younger kids, so I would say kindergarten to second grade, you definitely want to do that ahead of time. If you're concerned that you're going to have this canvas with something traced on it, and someone doesn't show, you now have a practice canvas to use for yourself. You can just paint over it. You'll want to double check your supplies, make sure you have enough of everything. So if you need to order something, you have time to get it before the program. Print out a copy of your notes so you're ready to go. I mainly put this as a reminder for myself, because if I wait, I'm getting to the morning of the program and I have to tell the kids, oh, hang on, I have to go get the information so I know what we're doing. Excuse me. All right, it is the day of the program. Yay, you've made it. So we're going to start with preparing the space. For me, that means setting up my easel, getting the paints out, putting down the table coverings, and then every space I go ahead and give them the canvas, the brushes they're going to need, cup for water, paper towels, if we're going to be using rulers, the traceables, anything like that. Get everybody ready. Look over your notes again, just so you have everything fresh in your mind. Once everyone arrives, go ahead and have them double check their station. That's a really good way to kind of explain what kind of brushes you'll be using, a little bit about what you're doing, and also to make sure everyone has everything, that you haven't skipped something. You're going to talk about what they're painting, and of course mention who originally did the painting so they can get the proper credit. Remind everybody that we're here to have fun. Even though we're painting the same thing, everybody's painting is going to be different, and that is okay. That's what's going to make your painting special. The rules for the paint. I have rules for my paint. One, I do not hand out all of the paint at once. It's kind of a crowd control thing, because if you give them all of the paint at once, they will use all of the paint at once. When I write my notes, I kind of plan out. So this is when we need the blue. This is when we need the white. This is when we need dioxazine purple, and hand them out as I go. With the kids programs, Miss Alyssa can get you paint, or another grown-up in the room can get you paint. The parents will usually help with this, but the kids, we're not quite ready to get our own paint yet. For the teens and the adults, what I will do is I will take my painting palette or my paper plate, and I will get out the colors we need and about the amount they'll need, so they can look and see, oh, this is what I need to get. I'm also happy to get paint for them, because some of them are a little unsure about and are afraid they'll squeeze the whole tube out, which I totally get. I also remind everybody that there's a reason we go in the order that we go. Just because we have black and blue paint out on our palette doesn't mean we're going to be painting everything that's black and blue all at once. We sometimes layer colors, we mix colors, so kind of follow along. This is why we do what we do. Somebody's going to spill something. Somebody's going to go rogue, and their painting's going to look completely different from everybody else's. It's okay. We can let it go. We're going to have fun. This is going to be a good day. So we're painting, and we're done. Yay. Do get photos if it's okay with the participants. This is really great to share with library board or anyone you do funding with, because you have these happy, smiling kids and families. So do try to get pictures if everyone is cool with it. You'll want to clean up your space. You know, don't be the kid that leaves the mess for everyone. I will say magic erasers are really good on acrylic paint. The darker colors are a little trickier. They tend to spread out more. And for whatever reason, green is the absolute worst. I'm sure there's a scientific reason why. I do not know what it is, but if I'm using green paint, I know it is going to be a major cleanup. If you have a problem where paint has dried to a table or like a tile floor, what you can do is soak a paper towel in water and a little bit of Dawn dishwashing soap, lay it across the spot and let it set for a few minutes. After that, you should be able to scrape it up pretty easily. Brushes, you want to take care of your brushes so they will last you a long while. My patrons are really nice and really try to help me take care, and they say that they have cleaned their brushes for me. I would encourage you to go ahead and clean your brushes yourself anyway. So to clean your paint brushes, you're going to need a paintbrush cleaner that comes in like a little, it almost looks like a lip balm container, or you can just get a bar of Dove or Ivory soap, get your paintbrush wet and just swirl it on the top of the soap. Kind of massage it in a bit, especially if you've got some dry, crusty bits in there. Rinse it out, and then again, lay your brush flat or hang it upside down to let it dry. So, yay, we have painted. Now everybody's gonna go home for a nap. I do have a couple paintings to show you guys real quick, and kind of, it also sort of ties into some different things that you might come up along with. We have our little pumpkin pie gnome here. the example I showed and what I was painting, the gnome had a brown hat, but as you can tell, this artist decided he needed a striped hat. That is fine. Carry on. This painting in the center, this snowman starry night, one, this is another painting that was done completely with craft acrylic paints, and you can see how well that turns out. Excuse me. Another thing about this is we had to let some of the paint dry, but we didn't need to take that full 20-minute break just yet. Tracy Kiernan, this came from her website. She said she had been inspired by the book Snowmen at Night to do this painting, so we read that while we waited for our paint to dry. These paintings over here, this was the first adult painting program we did. Husband and wife came, mom and dad. It was great to see them out and about. I'm going to kind of talk about the beach gnome first. So that is the example that the artist posted. This is what one of my kids did. It's amazing. It is spectacular, and I'm so proud of her for what she was able to create. Also, a note you will see in the example, there's a surfboard in that painting. I did not do the surfboard when I showed the kids that painting because it was giving me fits, so I left it out. If you're doing a painting and something's driving you up a wall, leave it out. This Northern Lights was our foray into a middle level advanced painting, and we decided never again. We were not quite ready for that, the teens were. Looking back, I think there was a better way I could have done it, but it was a little stressful. And then finally, this is a coworker's son who has come to many of the painting programs. And I have lots of kids who they have come to a lot of the programs. And he told me I could use his paintings as an example in this as long as I made it fancy. So these are courtesy of the Parmerly Gallery that we are able to put these on display. And we're done. So that is my email if anybody has any questions, and also my phone number. But I hope you guys have been inspired and feel confident and are ready to try this at your library. Again, it's a lot of fun. I have enjoyed it. It's something our patrons enjoy, so I really encourage you to try it out.
All right, thank you so much, Alyssa.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep the recording going for a minute in case anybody had some last minute questions they wanted to ask. In the meantime, Karen is gonna share a survey. So if I could get you guys to fill out this form, just kind of let us know about the program and everything. And one patron real quick is asking if you could drop your email in the chat really quick. All right, so Alyssa will go ahead and do that. And did anyone have any questions for her? You can either type in the chat or you can unmute yourself real quick and ask.
Why,
Oh,
yes,
and
I
so,
did have to check and make sure I spelled my email address correctly.
all good. Someone did ask. Patty Titus says, "Do you sign up ahead of time for these programs? Is it registration or not
Oh,
registration?"
yes, this is registration required. This is definitely not something you want to try to risk people coming in the day of. You want to know who you have and who is coming ahead of time. I usually open up registration 3 to 4 weeks beforehand. We're doing two at the end of this month for our spring break. My kids' one is already completely full, and I haven't actually done any social media advertising. People have just known to look for the program, so.
Was there anyone else that had any other questions they wanted to ask? All right. Well, thank you again, Alyssa. Again, if you have time, fill out that survey. And then if you're new to Library Makers, be sure to check our website librarymakers.org, where you can see other events. Our next event that we will have will be on March 25th, and that will be it'll be how to start your own repair cafe, which should be really fun. So yeah, thanks again, Alyssa, for joining us, and I will go ahead and stop the recording, and this will be posted on YouTube for any last minute people that came in again. So thanks guys for coming, and we'll see you later.